Hello, friends. Welcome to SermonLink. I'm Pastor Larry Brown. It's good to be together here on a Good Friday afternoon and sharing with you in what will be the resurrection passage for, of course, Easter morning. And we'll be in the Gospel of Mark, as you can see. But I'd like to just take a moment to go back into the 15th chapter of Mark. As I mentioned, Good Friday afternoon, just a little past 3 o'clock, actually, as I'm making this recording, and that connects to the timing that Mark gives us about the events of the crucifixion. So let's hear that first here on Good Friday afternoon, and then that'll move us to reflect upon what we'll be celebrating come Easter in just a few days. But first, from the crucifixion story of Mark's Gospel. When it was noon, darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon. At 3 o'clock, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which means, my God, why have you forsaken me? And when some of the bystanders heard it, they said, listen, he's calling Elijah. And someone ran, filled a sponge with sour wine, put it on a stick, and gave it to him to drink, saying, wait, let's see whether Elijah will come to take him down. And then Jesus gave a loud cry and breathed his last. Just a short time later on then, Mark adds, and there were also women looking on from a distance, and among them were Mary Magdalene, and Mary the mother of James the younger and of Joses, and Salome. They used to follow him and provided for him when he was in Galilee, and there were many other women who had come up with him to Jerusalem. So the reading from Mark's Gospel of the crucifixion, pay particular attention that he names those three women, Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and then Salome. And I wanted to point that out because notice how now as we turn to chapter 16 and the resurrection story of Mark, those same women are with us. When the Sabbath was over, Mary Magdalene and Mary the mother of James and Salome brought spices so that they might go and anoint him. And very early on, in the first day of the week, when the sun had risen, they went to the tomb. They'd been saying to one another, who will roll away the stone for us from the entrance of the tomb? When they looked up, they saw that the stone, which was very large, had already been rolled back. And as they entered the tomb, they saw a young man dressed in a white robe, sitting on the right side, and they were alarmed. But he said to them, do not be alarmed. You are looking for Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified. He has been raised. He is not here. Look, there is the place where they laid him. But go, tell the disciples and Peter that he is going ahead of you to Galilee, where you will see him, just as he told you. And so they went out and fled from the tomb, for terror and amazement had seized them, and they said nothing to anyone, for they were afraid. That is how Mark ends his story of the resurrection of Easter morning. They run out, these women, and they do so because they are afraid. Now, over time, many have been dissatisfied with that ending of Mark. In fact, if you turned in your Bible to that last chapter, chapter 16 of Mark, you may see that other words have been added there. That's exactly what's happened. Words have been added. Others have tried to create a more pleasing ending, to simply say they said nothing, those who were at the empty tomb, and ran because they were afraid, seems not at all like Easter morning. And yet let's be open to what Mark is wanting us to know here. Remember the point that I made at the start, that these three women who witnessed the crucifixion, they saw Jesus die, they were there when he breathed his last. They are the same ones that come to the tomb. They come, in fact, ready to care for the dead body. This death is real. This death has happened. They have been a part of it. In fact, they are still in it. They are still being held in the grip of it, this reality of death. And yet there's a messenger there that says, he's not here. If you're looking for Jesus in the place of death, you're in the wrong place, because he has been raised up. He is the Lord of life, in other words. And so that's, of course, the Easter message. But these women yet have not put it all together. And they are to go to the disciples and share the experience. And we will wait to see if they figure it out, that early community. The important thing is that the messenger says, as you go to share what you witnessed here, know that Jesus will see you in Galilee. Go back to Galilee. Remember, Mark said that's where they followed him. That's where they cared for Jesus and the needs of the community. Go back there. Go to your lives. Go to the places where you live each and every day. That is where and when and how you will see the risen Christ. In other words, what Mark is saying is that the fear in the women is not the end of the story at all. The story continues to be written as they, and now we, go into our Galilees, that is, the places where we live and connect with others and share time and space with families and friends and work associates, and go about our movement through our communities and the world. In Galilee is where the risen Christ will be known. So Mark's gospel is not really all that interested in us seeing a body. Mark wants us to encounter a risen presence, and that is for him ultimately the power of the resurrection and of Easter. And so I think that's the message for us. On Good Friday, we recognize that death is real, but on Easter, we prepare to go back into our lives and know that this risen one is interacting with us and becoming known to us and connecting us with God each and every step of our lives. It's in our lives that we know he lives. And of course, what the gospel says, because he lives, we will find true life also. Friends, blessed Easter to you. So good to be together. Thank you for giving a share or a like or however it is that you're helping us to pass along this message of good news. And we'll be back again. For now, know that he lives. And because he lives, you will live also. God bless.